Hey everyone, it's Anthony, and today we have a pretty exciting video where we're talking to Mark, the Managing Director and Franchise Owner of Speaking Schools Australasia. Speaking Schools is a public speaking and debating company based in Melbourne and Sydney in Australia, and we started working with them last year, and to this day we've been delivering high quality leads, appointments, and helping drive the student enrollments. Mark is awesome, I'll now just hand it over to him now.
Hi, everyone. My name's Mark. I'm the Managing Director of Speaking Schools. We are a public speaking and debating education business. We have been operating for about 11 years. We are primarily based in Sydney, but also have operations running in Melbourne and online as well. And it has been a pleasure over the last kind of 6, 9 months or so working with Enrol Engine.
Well, Mark, I've got a question for you. How
Mhm.
did you get into kind of the tutoring space in the first place?
Yeah. So back in 2014, I just finished university. I was working as a lawyer, and I, me and a friend of mine, just thought that there was a huge gap in the market for good public speaking and debating education. So the rich, wealthy private schools all had these great debating programs, and then no one else seemed to have access to any of it. And we thought, having done a lot of university debating while we were at university, we really felt that it was something that is such a crucial skill, something that everyone should have the ability to learn. And that's
Absolutely.
where speaking schools kind of came out of. The idea that everyone has the capacity of being a great public speaker. They just need the opportunity to learn the techniques and to practice to ensure that they're able to thrive and succeed.
Oh, I love it. And it's such an awesome vision and mission. Take me back to when we first met. What was the kind of problems that you were facing and what was the situation back then?
Yeah. So I, as managing director, was looking after more of kind of the socials and the advertising than I otherwise would have liked.
Mm.
And essentially, it was just taking too much time. And given the most important thing running a coaching business is to ensure that the children who are under your care, who you're teaching, are learning things and coming out of it better than they went in. So I was putting all of my emphasis, all of my time on that. And so things like advertising and obtaining new clients was something that just generally got put on the back burner. It was something that was always, oh, I can do that tomorrow. And that meant
Right.
that it just wasn't necessarily getting done.
Yeah.
And that was harming our ability to obtain clients. It was harming our ability to meet the mission of trying to spread good public speaking coaching to as many students as possible, regardless of their background. And so
Right.
it was a very opportune moment, very good timing to get some assistance with those particular tasks, which Enrol Engine stepped in to lend us a hand with.
Awesome. And since we've kind of worked together, talk me through what your experience was like in the 90 days. What kind of things happened? What did you see and experience?
Yeah, so I think one of the really useful things in the early stages of working with Enroll Engine was rather than just kind of give us a brief, tell us what they were going to do, and then go and do it,
Mhm.
they, well, I suppose you were able to provide us with a lot of information at the beginning to run us through the journey of what this was going to look like, what it was going to involve from us, what you were going to be doing behind the scenes, and just making sure that we were across what the process was for
Right.
providing this type of particular advertising. We had a lot of discussions early on about which platforms might be best to use, the style we might go with. There was plenty of kind of early testing where we did a range of different ads. We filmed a lot of different videos. We looked at different images, different
Yeah.
copy, stuff like that, and just making sure that we were doing it properly. So rather than rushing into it, there was also a
Mhm.
lot of kind of guidance. In addition to that, whilst we were required to film the videos and stuff like that, which makes complete sense, they're our coaches, we're the experts in the public speaking stuff. We were provided with scripts and guidance as to how best to go about doing that. And they were provided in a really timely manner, which allowed us to kind of essentially come up with the ideas, discuss the ideas, work out what we we're going to do, receive the scripts within a couple of days, then within a couple of days film it, send it back, and then the first video editing was coming. We're coming back, and so it was only kind of a 10 to 15 day turnaround from idea to polished video that was published, which was really really good and really helpful.
Right. And I would like to add that your team was just amazing at actually recording the videos. The quality of work that you have over there is just top notch, and that's why it's been
Thank you.
such an amazing experience. I would say like it's a two-way street. You say we were great, I think you guys are great as well as clients.
Thank you. I'm going to give a
Yeah,
lot of thanks to my colleague Rob for that, who was primarily responsible for the filming.
yeah, Rob was he was amazing. You know, everything all around from filming to the producing, everything. Cool. So let's just talk about a bit of results and some transformations. What were
Mm.
some of the numbers that you saw? We originally stuck to the appointments. How many
Mm.
appointments did we have? And all around, what did you think about the results and the transformation a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the methodology of obtaining clients that Enrol Engine encouraged and we ended up using was essentially to, rather than just direct people to the website and say, you've seen our ad, therefore you should book, it was adding a much stronger nurturing element to it, which I think was very good and
Right.
very powerful in allowing us to kind of discuss things with
Hmm.
parents and deal with their concerns up front. And we had Ash, who's our community manager, managing that particular process. She has worked very hard on that and has
Hmm.
received a lot of guidance from Enrol Engine about precisely how to go about doing those calls. And so there was
Hmm.
ongoing training, there was initial training, ongoing training on how to kind of deal with those calls. In terms of numbers and what we've kind of seen as a change, one of the the biggest change has been essentially the number of internal warm inquiries of people who do care and are interested. So I think that um, most people who book in come and attend a meeting, which is really, really good. They all get the opportunity to chat with Ash. And then Ash is
Right.
able to not only deal with any concerns that they might have, but also direct them to which program might be best for them and deal with what
Hmm.
would otherwise be kind of a 10 email chain in the course
Right.
of a 15-minute Zoom meeting, with the added benefit of being able to talk to them face to face, which I think is really quite nice and something that putting a face to a name, especially for an organization, can be a really, really powerful thing.
Right.
One thing we noticed is even when parents don't book in immediately or don't book a trial immediately,
Hmm.
we've found looking back at the data that a number of parents will do these interviews, talk with us, decide it's not for them right now, but then a couple of months later, they book in. And so it does also play a bit of the long game
Yeah.
of trying to get parents more engaged with the idea of joining and and it allows you to really put your best foot forward.
Oh, awesome. That's great to hear. And I believe in the first 90 days we had 100 or so appointments.
That
Something
sounds
around.
about right. There was quite a few.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we're always tracking show rates, close rates, and
Mm,
at the end of the day, we want to make a return. But hearing that a bit more quality related response
mm,
has been just beyond the numbers, right?
yeah.
That's good to hear from us as well, and we're happy about that. When you were working with us, what was different about the way we approach things compared to what you had tried before? I know you were managing social media, you had a lot on your plate,
Mm.
all of the hats, like you say. What was a bit different about how we approach things that you found?
One thing that, well, a couple of things that I found different. The first one was there was an emphasis on a different style of video that we hadn't used
Mhm.
before, which I really
Mhm.
quite liked. It was much
Oh, cool.
more so we used kind of more traditional style video. This was more
Mhm.
advertising-y type video. And it was
Yeah.
something, despite the fact that we have like quite a lot of digital media experience within the team, it was
Mhm.
a style of video that we weren't particularly familiar with. And so I think that
Right.
had a really big impact on
Mhm.
kind of garnering the initial interest and kind of getting that initial interest. So that was really, really good. It provided us with just essentially things that we didn't otherwise have, which was fantastic. And I think I mentioned earlier just how nice it was to have the quick turnaround and the very good response times and stuff like that, which actually
Mhm.
allowed these things to happen very organically, which
Right.
was great. Even though we're based in different cities, it was happening
Yeah.
very quickly and happening very organically, which was fantastic. That then leads probably to the second thing, and that is the
Mhm.
level of kind of responsiveness and ability to pivot quickly and well, I think has been
Right.
fantastic. With any advertising campaign, there's a level of learning at the beginning,
Of
and
course.
the ability to kind of look at something. use the metrics, decide whether it's working, and then go,
Mm.
okay, maybe this part's working and this part isn't. How can we change the funnels? And you mapped out the funnels beautifully when we've had our meetings.
Mm.
How can we alter the funnel to make sure that
Mm.
we are getting the best bang for our advertising buck, which was
Yeah.
fantastic, very, very helpful, and really good to have the visual representation, but also not
Mm.
to one thing I quite liked was it wasn't kind of your way or the highway. You always asked for our input before you made these changes,
Yeah.
and discussed it with us and discussed what the implications might be. And
Mm.
so, like for example, we changed the way that we did geography very recently.
Yes.
And that went, I think that's going quite strong
Hmm.
as a recent change. We're also changing part of the way that we're using some A/B testing
Yeah.
to see how that's how the difference between Zoom and phone calls might work. And I think that
Exactly.
all of that kind of stuff and the ability to pivot, change, and make sure everything is still working is fantastic. I know from talking to other people who are not necessarily in our industry, but who kind of deal with marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One issue is often that digital marketing agencies, such as not like Enrol Engine, will kind of take something they'll set and forget. And we've previously in
Mm.
the past used some digital marketing assistants, which has ended up that way, where
I see.
helpful at the beginning, then they set and forget it, and then it's up to us to measure it and come back to them and tell them, oh, this has stopped working, or are you sure you do?
Mm.
And there was never any need for that. We never had to follow up or ask for anything a second time. And I think that was really, really good. And a very positive experience we had with Enroll Engine.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for the kind words. Well, from where you're at right now, what does the kind of next year look like, in terms of the business? What are your goals that you have for the next year, and how do you want to potentially grow?
Yeah. So we operate under a franchise network. And so our main goals for the next year are to continue growing the franchise network. The mission since we started has always been to provide the highest possible quality of public speaking and debating education to as many students
Mm.
as possible, regardless of their background. And
Yeah.
everything we do is directed towards that. Um, so the goal we're looking to expand the franchise network to hit more
Hmm.
parts of Sydney, more parts of Melbourne, looking at other cities as well, and seeing where where the future might go, and just expanding the availability of good public speaking, debating education. Because frankly, as
Mm.
the world changes incredibly rapidly around us, the ability to communicate with one another is becoming so crucial and so
Important.
important, and it's only going to be more and more important as current school students in primary school and high school start
Mm.
to move in to the workforce and adult life. So I think that's
Absolutely.
such an important thing and something we're going to continue to pursue.
Yeah, and we think over at Enrol Engine, that's just a beautiful mission. Public speaking, debating. Both Liam and I, we've been a part of a little bit of debating classes
Mm.
as well when we were younger, and it's just an amazing experience and a beautiful mission. One
Mm.
last question for me.
Yes.
Let's say that there are tutoring business owners out there that is
Mm.
in a similar position that you were in 6, 9 months ago, a year ago, struggling with having so much of their time taken up through different facets of the business,
Mm.
admin, operations, marketing, fulfillment. What would you say to them about, a piece of advice? What could you say to them to help their situation?
Yeah. I think one of the most important things, especially when you're running a business, you're in kind of a shoe similar to mine, where you're the managing
Mhm.
director and you have to wear 10 different hats,
Yeah.
is you sometimes need to take a step back,
Mm.
take a breath, and think about what is important. What am I trying to achieve? Where do I want things to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? Then,
Mhm.
rather than getting mixed up in the day to day, putting out spot fires here and there, making sure that you do set aside the time to work out how you're going to get there, the steps you're going to take to get to your vision.
Mhm.
And if you don't have time to make sure that you're able to get to where that vision is, if you don't have the time outside of dealing with the day to day of running a tutoring organization, it is important to outsource those particular tasks
Mhm.
You got into tutoring because you love education and you love helping kids.
Mhm.
You're not marketers, you're not accountants, not necessarily.
Not
And
necessarily.
outsourcing to professionals who know what they're doing can make a world of difference, not only to your business, but also to your own mental health in dealing with all the challenges that come along with owning your own business. So step back, take a breath, work out what's important, and go on from there.
Let's say a portion of that that group of tuition business owners were on the fence about Enrol Engine. Would you
Mm.
have anything you want to say to them as well?
So, going particularly back to that, working with Enrol Engine has been an absolute pleasure. They have been responsive, they have been helpful, they have improved substantially our ability to outreach to parents who wouldn't otherwise know us. I would have absolutely no hesitation at all in recommending Enrol Engine as a trusted social media advertising partner.
It's not a bye-bye at all. We're going to continue working together, see how we can help grow the Speaking Schools Australasia. And yeah, thank you so much for your time once again.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Anthony.
So yeah, everyone, that was Mark. He is an awesome tutoring business owner and education service provider. We've had an awesome experience with him and we're continuing to work with him to this day. Now, if you are a tutoring business or education business owner and you're struggling with getting in enrollments, then we put the tutoring funnel playbook in the description below. You can get that and access it for free, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.